Most people don't realize this, but their kindness isn't rooted in strength, it's rooted in fear. There's a huge difference between being genuinely kind and being nice. Because you're scared of what will happen if you're not. And let's be real, most of us were raised to believe that being kind to everyone all the time is some kind of virtue. It's not. At least not the way we've been taught. This version of kindness that's always smiling, always agreeable, always bending over backwards, we use it as a shield, a way to stay safe, because deep down there's a belief that if we stop being nice, people might not like us. They might push back. They might get upset. And we don't want that. So we play the part. We nod. We say yes. We keep the peace even when our insides are screaming. And then we wonder why we feel burnt out, why we feel unseen, why we feel resentful. Because we're not living honestly or performing. This kind of niceness becomes a trap and makes us shrink ourselves to fit other people's expectations. We tell ourselves it's compassion, it's empathy, but it's not. It's avoidance. It's control. It's trying to manipulate how others see us so we don't have to deal with their disapproval. Think about it. Why is it so hard to say no to someone? Why is it so difficult to set a boundary or call out behavior that hurts us? It's because we've been taught that doing so makes us mean, that it makes us selfish, that it makes us difficult. So instead, we take it. We swallow it. We tolerate things that drain us because we're more afraid of rejection than we are of self-abandonment. And let's be honest, this fear-based kindness doesn't serve anybody. Not you and not the people around you. Because it's not real. It's not authentic. When you're constantly trying to be the nice guy or the sweet girl, you're not giving the world your truth. You're giving them a version of you that's edited, filtered, and watered down. And people feel that. They might not be able to name it, but they feel the fakeness. And then we end up attracting people who don't value us because we're not showing them who we really are. We're showing them who we think they want us to be. We're putting on a mask. And masks don't build real connections. They attract users. You become emotionally exhausted because your entire life becomes a balancing act. Try to be everything for everyone. Trying to manage everyone's emotions. Trying to avoid conflict at all costs. It's exhausting. And it's unsustainable. This need to be nice is rooted in childhood for a lot of people. Maybe you were punished for speaking up. Maybe you were rewarded for being quiet, agreeable, easy. Maybe you learned early on that love is conditional, that it's only given when you're pleasing. So now, as an adult, you don't know how to say what you really feel. You don't know how to let people see the messy parts of you. You don't know how to be real. But you need to understand this. Real kindness is powerful. It's not weak. It's not scared. It's not fake. Real kindness is honest. It's clear. It comes from a place of knowing who you are, what you deserve, and what your values are. Real kindness doesn't need to please everyone because it's not about performance. It's about presence. When your kindness is fear-based, it's fragile. It falls apart the moment someone disapproves. But when your kindness is rooted in strength, it doesn't need approval, it doesn't need applause, it just is. And that's what people need from you. Not your niceness, your truth, your clarity, your boundaries, your realness. But you can't access any of that if you're still stuck in the idea that being liked is more important than being honest. That keeping the peace is more important than keeping your soul intact. That being perceived as kind is more important than being whole. You gotta start asking yourself, What's driving my kindness right now? Is it love? Or is it fear? Is it alignment? Or is it anxiety? Because if it's the second one, you're not being kind. You're just scared. One of the hardest truths to accept is this: not everyone you meet is worthy of your kindness. That might sound harsh, especially if you've been taught to believe that kindness should be unconditional. But let's step out of the fantasy and into reality. Because in the real world, giving your kindness away to everyone, regardless of how they treat you, isn't virtue. It's carelessness. It's self-neglect. Kindness is a beautiful thing, but only when it's used with intention. It's a currency, and just like your time, your energy, or your love, it has value. And anything with value must be protected. You don't just hand over your wallet to strangers. You don't invite thieves into your home and say, "Help yourself." So why would you offer your deepest humanity to people who show you again and again that they don't respect it? The world is not filled with saints. It's filled with people in all shades. Some good, some selfish, some broken, some manipulative, some just plain toxic. And your job is not to be a hero that saves everyone. Your job is to recognize the difference between someone who's struggling but genuine and someone who's just using your kindness as a way to get what they want from you. There are people out there who are addicted to taking. They don't care about your heart. They don't care about your intentions. They care about what you give. Your attention, your time, your energy, your forgiveness. And if you keep giving without questioning, they will keep taking without guilt. You'll know the type. They only call when they need something. They get close when they want access. They flatter you when they want favor. But the moment you set a boundary, the moment you say, "I need some space," or "that didn't sit right with me," they flip. Suddenly you're the villain. Suddenly you're too sensitive, too dramatic, or selfish. That's when you start to see the kindness they loved in you wasn't really kind. It was convenience. As long as you kept giving, they kept smiling. The moment you said, "Enough," their mask fell off. You have to wake up to this. Not everyone is interested in building a connection with you. Some people are just interested in what they can extract from you. And the more kind, empathetic, and giving you are, the more you attract them. They don't see your kindness as a strength. They see it as an opening, a weakness, a way in. And you have to stop allowing it. You have to let them in. Because here's the thing, your kindness isn't just a trait. It's your essence. It's your light. It's the part of you that brings healing, hope, and warmth to the world. But if you keep giving that light to people who live in darkness and want to stay there, all you're going to do is burn yourself out. It's okay to be selective. It's okay to be discerning. In fact, it's necessary. If someone lies to you, manipulates you, disrespects you, hurts you repeatedly, what exactly are you giving your kindness to? What are you rewarding? Because make no mistake, kindness without standards is reward. That tells people you can hurt me and I'll still treat you like gold. That's not noble, that's dangerous. And let's not confuse forgiveness with tolerance. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself, to let go of resentment. But tolerance, that's what you do when you allow the same people to keep hurting you in the same ways. And you call it being kind. No, that's not kindness. That's you refusing to deal with the uncomfortable truth that this person does not value you, and likely never will. You need to stop expecting decency from people who don't even have integrity. Stop hoping that your love will be enough to change someone who doesn't want to change. Your goodness isn't measured by how much pain you can endure in silence. It's measured by how well you protect your soul in a world that constantly tries to break it. So yes, kindness is beautiful, it's powerful, but only when it's paired with boundaries. Only when it's rooted in self-respect. When you give it to people who haven't earned it, it loses its meaning. It becomes noise. It becomes weakness. And the people who see it as weakness will keep feeding off it until there's nothing left of you. To earn the right to someone's kindness, you have to show up consistently with honesty, loyalty, and respect. And if someone doesn't do that for you, you are under no obligation, none, to keep extending your light to them. There's this silent rule many people live by, especially those who grew up trying to keep the peace. Don't make waves. Don't say no. Don't be difficult. And so they spend their lives with open doors, wide hearts, and zero walls. But the truth is, without boundaries, you're not being kind. You're being controlled. Don't know the type. They only call when they need something. They get close when they want access. They flatter you when they want favor. But the moment you set a boundary, the moment you say, I need some space, or that didn't sit right with me, they flip. Suddenly you're the villain. Suddenly you're too sensitive, too dramatic, or selfish. That's when you start to see the kindness they loved in you wasn't really kindness. It was convenience. As long as you kept giving, they kept smiling. The moment you said enough, their mask fell off. You have to wake up to this. Not everyone is interested in building a connection with you. Some people are just interested in what they can extract from you. And the more kind, empathetic, and giving you are, the more you attract them. They don't see your kindness as a strength, they see it as an opening, a weakness, a way in. And you have to stop allowing it. Because here's the thing, your kindness isn't just a trait, it's your essence. It's your light. It's the part of you that brings healing, hope, and warmth to the world. But if you keep giving that light to people who live in darkness and want to stay there, all you're going to do is burn yourself out. It's okay to be selective. It's okay to be discerning. In fact, it's necessary. If someone lies to you, manipulates you, disrespects you, hurts you repeatedly, what exactly are you giving your kindness to? What are you rewarding? Because make no mistake, kindness without standards is a reward. It tells people, you can hurt me, and I'll still treat you like gold. That's not noble. That's dangerous. And let's not confuse forgiveness with tolerance. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself, to let go of resentment. But tolerance? That's what you do when you allow the same people to keep hurting you in the same ways. And you call it being kind? No, that's not kindness. That's you refusing to deal with the uncomfortable truth that this person does not value you and likely never will. You need to stop expecting decency from people who don't even have integrity. Stop hoping that your love will be enough to change someone who doesn't want to change. Stop thinking that if you just stay nice, eventually they'll see your worth. Because they won't. They've already shown you who they are, and you need to believe them. You are not responsible for someone else's growth. You are not required to stick around and suffer just to be seen as a good person. Your goodness isn't measured by how much pain you can endure in silence. It's measured by how well you protect your soul in a world that constantly tries to break it. So yes, kindness is beautiful. It's powerful. But only when it's paired with boundaries. Only when it's rooted in self-respect. When you give it to people who haven't earned it, it loses its meaning. It becomes noise. It becomes weakness. And the people who see it as weakness will keep feeding off it until there's nothing left of you. You have to earn the right to someone's kindness. You have to show up consistently with honesty, loyalty, and respect. Don't be difficult. And so they spend their lives with open doors, wide hearts, and zero walls. But the truth is, without boundaries, you're not being kind, you're being controlled. You're being shaped by every demand, every expectation, every guilt trip that someone throws your way. Boundaries are not just healthy, they are powerful. They're not walls to keep people out, they're filters to protect your peace. Most people think boundaries are about pushing people away. That's wrong. Boundaries are about choosing who gets access to your time, your energy, your emotions. And not everyone deserves full access. Just like not everyone deserves full access, just like not everyone should have a key to your inner world, because what's sacred must be protected, not shared freely with anyone who knocks. A lack of boundaries is often rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of confrontation, fear of being seen as selfish. So what do people do? They say yes when they mean no. They stretch themselves thin to accommodate others. They answer every text immediately, pick up every call, attend every event, and suppress every instinct that says, this doesn't feel right. That's not love. That's some fair share. Boundaries are power because they signal to the world, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know what I will and won't accept. They're not about being rigid or cold. They're about being clear. And when you're clear, you stop attracting chaos. You stop inviting people who only respect you when it benefits them. You stop entertaining the noise of those who only show up to take. One of the biggest lies society sells is that setting boundaries is a sign of distance, that it's unkind. But the truth is, the people who love you, really love you, will honor your boundaries. They'll listen. They'll adjust. Because for them, the relationship is about connection, not control. On the other hand, the ones who get angry when you draw the line, they're the ones who benefited most when you had none. They're the ones who were feeding off your silence, your compliance, your exhaustion. People often confuse boundaries with barriers, but they're not the same. Barriers say, stay away from me forever. Boundaries say, I want connection, but not at the cost of my peace. And peace is not negotiable. It's not something you trade in for acceptance. It's something you protect with your life. Because the minute you lose it, everything else crumbles. Your focus, your creativity, your confidence, your joy. Look around. How many people are drained? Not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too much for the wrong people. Always pleasing, always sacrificing, and yet rarely feeling fulfilled. When you say, I don't allow disrespect, or I don't respond after a certain hour, or I need time before I commit to that, you're not being rude, you're being real. You're saying, this is who I am, and I value that too much to compromise it just to keep you comfortable. Some people are afraid to set boundaries because they fear losing people. What they don't realize is that if someone leaves because you respected yourself, they were never truly with you to begin with. Their connection to you was based on what they could extract, not who you are. And those aren't losses. They're revelations. Boundaries also teach people how to treat you. Every time you enforce one, you're giving a lesson. You're saying, if you want to be in my life, this is the standard. This is the level of respect required. And the ones who rise to meet it, those are your people. The rest, let them go. Because keeping someone in your life who constantly crosses your boundaries isn't love. It's self-neglect disguised as loyalty. There's also this idea that boundaries should be explained or justified, that every time you say no, you owe someone a 10-paragraph explanation. You don't. A boundary doesn't need to be defended. It just needs to be communicated. And the more you practice this, the more you realize people's reactions to your boundaries have nothing to do with your worth. They have everything to do with their own entitlement. You get to decide who has access to you. Not your history with them, not their opinion of you, not their level of neediness or guilt tripping, you. And the moment you start honoring that power, you stop feeling like a victim of your own generosity. This isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming solid, about knowing yourself so deeply that you can say, I choose this, I don't choose that. No shame, no apology, just clarity leads to peace. And peace is strength. And strength is the only place where real kindness can grow. There's something dangerous about kindness when it isn't grounded in self-respect. It turns into something unrecognizable. It becomes servitude. It becomes sacrifice without honor. It becomes a habit of betraying yourself so others can feel comfortable. Most people don't notice it while it's happening. They think they're being good, being generous, being loving. But underneath that polished exterior of smiles and soft words is a slow leak of identity, power, and truth. When your kindness doesn't come from a place of self-worth, it's not really kindness. It's a survival tactic. It's a way to keep yourself safe in relationships, jobs, friendships, and family systems that are not built to hold the real you. And so you play the role. You say yes when your whole soul wants to say no. You apologize even when you're not wrong. You show up for others, but abandon yourself in the process. And little by little, you chip away at your own integrity. It starts small. Maybe someone makes a comment that cuts you, but you laugh it off. You tell yourself it wasn't that serious. You don't want to be dramatic. Then it happens again and again. And instead of confronting it, you stay quiet. You rationalize it. You call it understanding. You tell yourself, they didn't mean it. But the truth is, it did hurt, and you did notice. You just weren't ready to face what it would mean if you stopped being the nice one. Kindness without self-respect is a silent killer. It doesn't break you in one big dramatic moment. It wears you down. It teaches you to be small, to dim your light, to keep the peace even when your heart is at war. And eventually you look in the mirror and don't recognize who you become. You're exhausted. Not just tired, but soul tired. Because performing kindness while suppressing your truth is one of the most energy-draining things a human being can do. You can't keep saying yes to everyone and still expect to have something left for yourself. You can't keep showing up for others in ways you refuse to show up for your own needs and expect to feel fulfilled. There's a line, and if you don't draw it, people will cross it. Not because they're evil, but because you never made it clear it was there. When you have no boundaries, your kindness becomes a tool for others to use. When you have no standards, your compassion becomes a leash they can pull. And when you have no self-respect, your empathy becomes a reason for people to treat you like a doormat. They don't see it as love, they see it as access. Access to your time, your energy, your forgiveness, your silence. The thing about self-respect is that it demands honesty. It forces you to look at your life and say, where am I selling myself short? Where am I pretending everything is okay just to avoid discomfort? And that's where most people fall short. Because they'd rather be liked than be real. They'd rather keep relationships intact on the surface than disrupt them by asserting their needs. But here's the harsh truth. If a relationship requires you to betray yourself to maintain it, it's not a relationship worth keeping. You weren't born to please. You weren't born to constantly adjust, apologize, and bend yourself into shapes that make everyone else feel at ease. You were born to live in truth. And that truth isn't always soft. It isn't always agreeable. Sometimes kindness looks like saying no. Sometimes kindness looks like walking away. Sometimes kindness looks like letting someone be disappointed because you finally chose you. And yes, people will call you selfish, especially the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries, especially the ones who counted on your silence. But their discomfort is not your burden. Their disappointment is not your guilt to carry. Because the moment you start choosing yourself, the moment you start loving yourself out loud, you begin to reclaim the parts of you that you gave away in the name of being good. Self-respect doesn't mean you stop being kind. It means your kindness gets sharper, wiser, more intentional. It means you stop giving your best to people who treat you like an afterthought. It means you stop shrinking in conversations just to keep the peace. It means you stop sacrificing your emotional health to meet other people's expectations. And it means you finally understand that love without dignity is not love. It's dependency, it's fear, it's performance. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you consistently put yourself last, don't be surprised when others do the same. If you consistently dismiss your feelings, don't be shocked when others think it's okay to ignore them. If you constantly make yourself available, even when it hurts, don't expect anyone to ask how you're doing. The only way to change this is to change your internal standard. To decide that your peace matters, your voice matters, your needs matter. And once you make that shift, once you say, I will no longer betray myself to make others comfortable, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your presence becomes grounded, and people either rise to meet you there or they leave. Either way, you win, because you're no longer being kind out of obligation, you're being kind from a place of strength, from a place of truth, from a place where love is mutual, respect is non-negotiable, and your soul no longer has to beg for permission to be seen. People are taught to give, to serve, to care. From childhood, you're conditioned to believe that being a good person means putting others first, helping them, listening to them, being there for them. You're praised when you sacrifice. You're admired when you bend over backwards. And somewhere along the line, you start thinking that love and worth are something you earn by ignoring your own needs. That if you're kind enough, generous enough, selfless enough, someone will finally see you, love you, appreciate you. But that's not kindness, that's dependency dressed as virtue. Because real kindness doesn't begin with how you treat others. It begins with how you treat yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup, no matter how noble your intentions are.